whoever's voice that is on the intro, you need to give him a job. I'm gonna say right now, that man on that intro, you need to give him a job. All right. What is going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to another amazing and impactful episode of the True Health Forever podcast, where we live our best life through the lens of holistic health. I'm your host, Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game. And as usual, it is my honor. It is my privilege to have the queen. I ain't gonna stop. To have the beautiful, the hoop earring wearing, the beautiful smile, curly hair popping, health nerd herself. Please introduce yourself.
What's up, everybody? My name is Sinclair, aka
The
Health Nerd, here joining you on a lovely Sunday afternoon. I say lovely. The weather's been a little spotty.
Yeah, it's been a little gloomy.
Yeah,
it's good now.
It is. Yeah, the sun's peeking through, so I like it. This morning it was cuddle weather, but he was out playing basketball. So
I was. I'm gonna sleep in. I got too much work to do. You know, I'm about too much work to do.
Cuddle myself.
There it is, quick. But today we have a really good topic. I think going through the pandemic is kind of heightened the need for this a little bit more, but I thought it was a need before. And we're talking about really being confident in who you are, being confident in what you're putting forth into the world, but also making sure that you feel confident in your own self-worth to be able to live.
Yeah.
Right. I think suicide, depression is a huge, heavy topic. And I think it's our privilege to be able to talk about it in this space. And whoever this message is for, we hope it finds you and hope it lets you go ahead and live that beautiful life that you have in front of you. Queen, are you queen?
King.
Queen.
King.
For the sake of the podcast, I'm gonna stop. But Queen, are you ready?
Are you ready for some podcast?
All right, we're out. All right, let's welcome Sis Overland in the building. How are you doing?
I'm doing so good, guys. I'm so grateful to be here with you too. And so I'm just ready to go. Let's go.
We're grateful to have you. So we met, and we can talk a little briefly about how we met. Like, we met in the BU community, which you've been a part of, and we're recently coming into it. A lot of dope people in there, a lot of great energy, and we told our guests already, like, we're having a lot of more people from the BU community come in and pour in to our folks on here. So happy for you to be, I think, number 2 in line. Number 1 was Ernie, Rana and Ernie, and then now we got Overland in here. But can you talk about what?
Before you even get there,
Queen.
I wanted to let you know that me and the king, probably after the first or second call, I told the king, I was like, you know what? I really vibe with Overland. I dig her vibes. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, I haven't really even talked to her one-on-one yet, but I just like her vibes.
Energy.
Yeah, I was like, she has great energy. So very happy to have you on with us today, and just love your spirit, love your vibe, everything about it.
Right.
Proceed.
So if you can just give the folks an introduction to who you are and maybe why you joined BU, and then we'll get into all the other beautiful stuff.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that, guys, especially you, Sinclair, because I felt the same way about both of you. As soon as you guys came in, and I was just saying this on my own life, that I am all about love. I love love. And so just to hear you guys pick up each other, I was like, oh, those two are going to be day ones for me. But I am Overland. I'm out of Sugar House, Utah, originally from American Samoa. Oldest of 6. What else? I love to have fun. And so when you guys gave me this question to like marinate and think of, I was like, who is Overland? Because people see me in BU and always doing the lives, but who really is Overland? And what I came to recognize is I am a work in progress. I am God's daughter. I want to do all things to please him. I always say on the calls, I am agape love, which is God's love. And I don't say that to be fluffy or to get any type of following. I mean it. Like ever since I was a little girl, I was like, I want to do everything God wants me to do. But it doesn't mean that I say I'm agape love, that I don't have the capability of popping off or getting angry.
Be careful.
Right, right.
Yeah. I have that side of me, but because I want to please God and those moments come up where I get angry at people or disappointed, I have to remember that it's grace. I have to, not have to, because Inky Johnson always says it, we get to. I get to exercise what God gives me when I'm disappointing Him or upsetting Him. I give people grace, not because I'm God or anything like that, but because I want to follow Him and in His footsteps and really live that mantra of agape love. So that's who I am.
Love it, love it. Thank you for that. And you're the first person we asked that remix question to, because we had an episode where we were saying sometimes people value others based on what they do and not who they are. And usually we start off like, oh, what do you do? But we did a little remix, little soul searching on our side. So that was a beautiful way to be the first one to answer that question. Yeah. I am agape love. So oldest of 6.
Yeah.
I feel like there's tons of not oldest of 6. I don't know where first off, where are you in the 6? And I feel like there's at least one sibling story you can tell to embarrass somebody on here.
Well, I don't know if it'll embarrass my siblings or more my parents, because I come from a family that my parents are divorced, and so they had kids before us, and so we have originally from my parents 5. But one of my brothers, who's right under us, in Polynesian culture, if you're a cousin or even if you're non-related, you're a brother or sister when you come into the home. And so my brother Gual, who I advocate for, he was death by suicide back in 2008, and so I count him as number 6. Gotcha. And but I'm the oldest of the 5. And so when you brought that up, brother, about suicide and depression, I was like, I have automatically thought of him because as sad as it was to lose him in 2008, he is my drive of why I love on people so hard, because I don't want anyone to ever feel like they don't have a family. So I'm the top of the 5 or 6, the way you look at it.
All right. Sorry for your loss over here, says Overland. Can you maybe talk about what is the way that you help people in preventing suicide, or the way that you're coaching people for just that self-confidence?
So it's been 13 years since he's passed, and I've done workshops here in Utah. I've gathered people at churches, no matter what you affiliate yourself with, and I tell his story. I tell why we didn't understand what he was going through. I tell them that if you're dealing with somebody that has those tendencies or have attempted, that don't make them feel crazy, but at the same time, don't feel like you are the one to save them. Because what we learned as a family is we couldn't save him because he already made the decision. But it doesn't mean that our entire family line is a bunch of people that want to commit suicide. Or what the training says, instead of saying commit, is say death by suicide, because nobody in their right mind or in their mind of depression really wants to do that. And so that's how I help. The other way I help is what I had to learn for 12 years in advocating for suicide was that I was pretty much running from my own healing because I wanted to help other people heal, because I wasn't really facing the fact that I lost my brother. And the week that he took his life and we had to return to Utah, I had a choice to make. I either was going to blame God or I was going to run to God and stay on his side. And I chose to run to God because within my family and my 5 siblings, they believe in God, but they don't affiliate themselves in the church that I'm affiliated. And so if I had chosen to fall away from our church, then they'll be like, oh, well, there it goes. Like, is there really a God? Like, she doesn't, what? And she went against what she said she believed in. And so there's so much to say off of what I just said off of that, but that's how I help people, is like keep myself in check-in with God so that people don't lose, whether it was they were going to come towards God or they've been with God and now they're like, oh, she fell away, I'm going to fall away too. Like, I put that responsibility on my shoulders because for me, I don't understand how people can live without God because life is so hard. Like, in my perspective, like to live without God is like, how are you making it every day? Because I'm for God, but I can barely make it being on His team. So how can you do it without Him in your life? So
yeah, I think it's some type of faith or belief in a universal power is, you know, my preference. I know we have a lot of different listeners, so we're not trying to push you either way, but that is just the choice that we definitely decide to make on this side. Speaking of choices, I feel like you made the very intentional choice to run towards your healing, right? To run towards that kind of uncomfortable feeling instead of kind of retreating inwards and possibly doing like unhealthy things that way. How do you help people make that choice, right? How do you help people, whether it's I'm trying to start a business, I'm trying to start my health career, I'm trying to just make sure I live and wake up the next day? Is there a way that you kind of coach people and help people to make that tough decision on confronting what is difficult in the moment?
So the way that I help them is I tell them, stop letting yourself have everybody define who you are. Stop living in your mistakes. Stop trying to please everybody and live by their expectations. I am blessed because not only do I consider myself a daddy's girl to Heavenly Father, I consider myself a daddy's girl to my dad. And so my dad is so like, he's the problem in the room, but he's also the solution. He's only the problem because people don't want to stretch themselves, and he's in your face. Like, he doesn't let anybody intimidate him. But then he's the solution because his heart is like, hey, I'm trying to help you. I know it sounds tough love type of delivery, but I really am not trying to hurt you. I'm trying to help you. So he taught me at a very young age, like, don't ever let somebody's title or the way they speak to you intimidate you. You always look to be the solution. And then my mom, I'm only growing into being a mama's girl because me and her bump heads so much because I'm so much like my dad. But in the last year where I've healed our relationship in the sense of forgiving her for things from my past, I'm grateful for her because she's such a fighter. She's a fighter in her own right. So when I love on people or coach them in a sense, I let them know, like, you are valuable just being you. And I only through Breathe University was I able to be more effective because I started what I put out, I've been putting into myself. Because again, it was that running, trying to heal everybody else, but not doing the self work, what E.T. talked about this morning. Yeah.
Queen, I feel like you had some go ahead.
That last part definitely hit home. The like, sometimes we have that desire in us. We know that we're meant for more and we want to help people, but sometimes it's so easy to like jump the gun and like recognize the healing in others and almost have that be the way that you mentioned, that you're almost running away from healing yourself. Like, it's very easy to do that. So I think even for myself, right, we're going through a 90-day healing journey, for like physical health, but I've also like, I told that we were talking the other day and he asked, he's good for just asking random questions to spark conversation. So he asked,
too good.
He asked, like, what's one thing this year that you've done to grow personally? And for my answer, it was to start seeing a therapist. I did reach out and just try to get that help that I need to tackle some of my demons and face some of my insecurities that I have about myself. And I think before it, that took I didn't think that I was the type to be like, oh, I don't need therapy, blah, blah, blah. But it's like my actions said that though, because I knew that I needed some type of help, but I wasn't taking action on it. So even though I wasn't one of those people out there like preaching that, it was like my actions are showing that though by not, because I know that's probably the advice that I would give somebody who came to me with these concerns is like, oh, have you tried to seek help? Have you tried to? So it's like, why am I not taking that advice myself? So yeah, that part hit home to me on like, yeah, you really do have to turn inward first and heal within so that you can then help others do the same thing within themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of, so we also talked about there's a book called the War of Art. And it talks about how when you're trying to create a masterpiece, when you're trying to, do a certain specific goal, there's all types of distractions that come into your life, right? And if we're thinking about ourselves as the most magnificent art piece we will ever create, right? Like we are our own masterpieces, and every day we're working on ourselves. Every time that you try to heal somebody else, you're distracting yourself from your own work.
Right.
So yes, love that point,